All right, I yield the floor to the president. You now have the floor.
Is the screen big enough? Y'all see that?
Yeah, I can read it pretty good.
United States of America Republic Corporation. The United States of America Republic Corporation is a corporation de jure, that which exists by reason of full compliance by incorporators with requirements of an existing law permitting organization of such corporation. It is impregnable to assault in the courts from any source. Do you hear that? It is impregnable to assault in the courts from any source. The reason I'm going over this is because I know it's a lot of people in our government that still really don't get it. See, it's like you're a superhero, right? And you just got all these powers, but you really don't know the full extent of your power. So you still kind of like shaky-jakey, you know what I mean? You still kind of scared a little bit to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? Before you just go jump off this skyscraper, you kind of, you fidgety, but you can fly now. You feel what I'm saying? So it's learning your power, and the only way you're gonna learn your power is to have understanding of the power that you have, because you got it. According to the accepted definitions and rules, corporations are classified as follows: public and private. A public corporation is one created by the state for political purposes and to act as an agency in the administration of civil government, generally within a particular territory or subdivision of the state, and usually invested for the purpose with subordinate territory or subdivisions of the state, and usually invested for that purpose with subordinate and local powers of legislation, such as a county, city, town, or school district. These are also sometimes called political corporations. Private corporations are those founded by and composed of private individuals for private purpose. Corporation: an artificial person or legal entity created by or under the authority of the laws of a state or nation, composed in some rare instances of a single person and his successors, being the incumbents of a particular office, but ordinarily consisting of an association of numerous individuals who subsist as a body politic under a special denomination, Islamism, which is regarded in law as having a personality and existence distinct from that of its several members, and which is by the same authority vested with the capacity of continuous succession, irrespective of changes in its membership, either in perpetuity or for a limited term of years, and of acting as a unit or single individual in matters relating to the common purpose of the association within the scope of the powers and authorities conferred upon such bodies by law. The true distinction between public and private corporations is that the former are organized for governmental purposes, the latter not. The term public has sometimes been applied to corporations of which the government owned the entire stock, as in the case of a state bank, but bearing in mind that public is here equivalent to political. It will be apparent that this is a misnomer. Again, the fact that the business or operations of a corporation may directly and very extensively affect the general public, as in the case of a railroad company or a bank or an insurance company, is no reason for calling it a public corporation. if organized by private persons for their own advantage, or even if organized for the benefit of the public generally, as in the case of a free public hospital or other charitable institution, it is nonetheless a private corporation if it does not possess governmental powers or functions. Listen to that again. It is nonetheless a private corporation if it does not possess governmental powers or functions. U.S.A.R is a government. That lets you know that it is not private. Not private. It operates private and public. It operates on both sides, but it is a public entity. The youth may, in a sense, be called public, but the corporation is private, as much so as if the franchise were vested in a single person. It is to be observed, however, that those corporations which serve the public or contribute to the comfort and convenience of the general public, though owned and managed by private interests, are now, and quite appropriately, denominated public service corporations. See info. Another distinction between public and private corporations is that the former are not voluntary associations, as the latter are, and that there is no contractual relationship between the government and a public corporation or between the individuals who compose it. The terms public and municipal as applied to corporations are not convertible. All municipal corporations are public, but not vice versa. But there may also be public corporations which are not municipal. Even in this wider sense of the latter term, such according to some of the authorities are the irrigation districts, now known in several of the western states. A franchise possessed by one or more individuals who subsist as a body politic under a special denomination, Islamism, and are vested by the policy of the law with the capacity of perpetual succession and of acting in several respects. However numerous the association may be, as a single individual. Let me say it again. A franchise possessed by one or more individuals who subsist as a body politic under a special denomination, Islamism, and are vested by the policy of the law with the capacity of perpetual succession and of acting in several respects, however numerous the association may be, as a single individual. We as Moorish American people are franchised. So all 160 million of what U.S.A.R did is, everybody don't agree with what we're doing. Everybody don't agree with U.S.A.R. Everybody don't agree with this. Some people say no, the Moorish Science Temple is where we're supposed to be going, and this and that. Some Moors out here is part of the Black Panthers. Some are part of the Nation of Islam. All our people in different things. Some still in the Catholic Church, some in the Christian churches, some they everywhere. But guess what? If you say you're a Moorish American, you just been made into one person, and that one person name is the United States of America Republic. And the United States of America Republic is able to act as a single individual on behalf of the Moorish American people. So therefore, even though everybody has not joined their government yet, guess what? I already unified us all across the nation. We already unified. An intellectual body created by law composed of individuals united under a common name, the members of which succeed each other, so that the body continues, always the same, notwithstanding the change of the individuals who compose it, and which for certain purposes is considered a natural person. A corporation is more nearly a method than a thing. A corporation is more nearly a method than a thing, and the law, in dealing with a corporation, need not define it as a person or entity, or even as an embodiment of functions, rights, and duties. The statement that a corporation is an artificial person or entity apart from its members is merely a description, in figurative language, of a corporation viewed as a collective body. A corporation is a collection of natural persons joined together by their voluntary action or by legal compulsion by or under the authority of an act of the legislature, consisting either of a special charter or of a general permissive statute to accomplish some purpose, pecuniary, ideal, or governmental, authorized by the charter or governing statute. Corporate franchise, the right exists and do business as a corporation. The right or privilege granted by the state or government to the persons forming an aggregate private corporation and their successors to exist and do business as a corporation and to exercise the rights and powers incidental to that form of organization. A franchise possessed by one or more individuals who subsist as a body politic under a special denomination and are vested by the policy of the law with the capacity of perpetual succession and of acting in several respects, however numerous the association may be, as a single individual. An artificial person or being endowed by law with the capacity of perpetual succession. With the capacity of perpetual succession, consisting either of a single individual, termed a corporation sole, or of a collection of several individuals. This is termed a corporation aggregate. An intellectual body created by law composed of individuals united under a common name, the members of which succeed each other, so that the body continues always the same, notwithstanding the change of the individuals who compose it, and which, for certain purposes, is considered a natural person. A corporation is more nearly a method than a thing, and the law in dealing with a corporation need not define it as a person or entity or even as an embodiment of functions. I think I read this already. I might have this in here twice. Let me highlight it so I know to go back and check that. Okay. The statement that a corporation is an artificial person or entity apart from its members is merely a description in figurative language. I know I read that already. I must add that in here twice. Okay. Corporate name. When a corporation is erected, a name is always given to it, or supposing none to be actually given, will attach to it by implication. And by that name alone, it must sue and be sued, and do all legal acts, though a very minute variation therein is not material, and the name is capable of being changed by competent authority without affecting the identity or capacity of the corporation. Other compound and descriptive terms: a business corporation, one formed for the purpose of transacting business in the widest sense of that term, including not only trade and commerce, but manufacturing, mining, banking, insurance, transportation, and practically every form of commercial or industrial activity where the purpose of the organization is pecuniary profit. Contrasted with religious, charitable, educational, and other like organizations, which are sometimes grouped in the statutory law of a state under the general designation of corporations non-profit. Quasi-corporations, organizations resembling corporations, municipal societies, or similar bodies which, though not true corporations in all respects, are yet recognized by statutes or immemorial usage as persons or aggregate corporations, with precise duties which may be enforced and privileges which may be maintained by suits at law. They may be considered quasi-corporations, with limited powers coextensive with the duties imposed upon them by statute or usage, but restrained from a general use of the authority which belongs to those metaphysical persons by the common law. The term is lacking in definiteness and precision. It appears to be applied indiscriminately to all kinds of municipal corporations, the word quasi being introduced because it is said that these are not voluntary organizations like private corporations, but created by the legislature for its own purpose and without reference to the wishes of the people of the territory affected. I'm going to read that again. To all kinds of municipal corporations, the word quasi being introduced because it is said that these are not voluntary organizations like private corporations, but created by the legislature for its own purpose and without reference to the wishes of the people of the territory affected. So a quasi-government or a quasi-corporation is a corporation that has been formed by the legislative body, such as the Moorish Marshals, such as the Secretary of State, the DMV, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles for U.S.A.R, the Moorish Marshals, our court, and anything else that we establish. Well, I ain't gonna say our court, but any other. If U.S.A.R had a public aid office, or anything that we create under the government, such as a really good example would be Moorish Science Temple of American International Mission, is a quasi-governmental entity because it was created by the legislature. It was passed through the legislature that it is an agency formed under the United States of America Republic government, just like the Marshals is a corporation formed by the government for a specific purpose and duty. It was not, the Moorish Marshals wasn't a group of people that came together to organize it, where they got a state constitution, et cetera, et cetera. It was formed through the legislative body to perform certain purposes and duties for the state. To all municipal corporations except cities and incorporated towns, the latter being considered the only true municipal corporations because they exist and act under charters or statutes of incorporation, while counties, school districts, and the like are merely created or set off under general laws. To municipal corporations possessing only a low order of corporate existence or the most limited range of corporate powers, such as hundreds in England, and counties, villages, and school districts. Now I want y'all to really pay attention. They're letting you know that the county has, what does it say? A limited range of corporate power. A county, a village, has very low, they're very low. I want to read it from the screen. It says, to municipal corporations possessing only a low order of corporate existence. So the county has a very low order of corporate existence. The county is not as strong as people think. The county is created for one purpose and one purpose only. It is to maintain the records. It is a custodian of documents. A custodian of documents. Guess for who? For all the political subdivisions within the county. Guess for who else? For the federal government. The county is federal. Little do people know. They work for the feds. They keep the records so the federal United States government know what's going on within the states. That's what the county does. So when you hear these people telling you, oh, the sheriff got all the power, the United States, the marshals, the U.S. marshals, they ain't got no power to come in the state. Really, if they come in the state, they need to talk to the sheriff because the sheriff is the one with all the power. That is a lie. When the U.S. marshal come in the state, he obtains all the same powers as the sheriff. He has all the same powers as the sheriff. Watch any Western movie and you will see that when the marshal comes to town, the sheriff bows down to the marshal. Okay. A term applied to those bodies or municipal societies which, though not vested with the general powers of corporations, are yet recognized by statutes or immemorial usage as persons or aggregate corporations, with precise duties which may be enforced and privileges which may be maintained by suits at law. There is a well-defined and marked distinction between municipal corporations, proper and political or quasi-corporations. Cities, towns, and villages are municipal corporations. Proper, while counties, townships, school districts, road districts, and the like are quasi-corporations. Quasi-corporation is a phrase used to designate bodies which possess a limited number of corporate powers and which are low down in the scale or grade of corporate existence, and is generally applied to a body which exercises certain functions of a corporate charter, but which has not been created a corporation by any statute, general or special. Board of Education of Independent School District, that's a case law. Latin, corpus, a body. A corporation is an association recognized by civil law and regarded in all ordinary transactions as an individual. It is an artificial person. Chief Justice Marshall of the Supreme Court of the United States of America, in the course of a formal judicial utterance, thus defined the term corporation. A corporation is an artificial being, invisible, intangible, and existing only in contemplation of law. Being the mere creature of law, it possesses only those properties which the charter of its creation confers upon it, either expressly or as incidental to its very existence. These are such as are supposed best calculated to affect the object for which it was created. Among the most important are immortality, and, if the expression may be allowed, individuality, properties by which a perpetual succession of many persons are considered as the same. Properties by which a perpetual succession of many persons are considered as the same, and may act as a single individual. Let me say it again. And may act as a single individual. They enable a corporation to manage its own affairs and to hold property without the perplexing intricacies, the hazardous and endless necessity of perpetual conveyances for the purpose of transmitting it from hand to hand. It is chiefly for the purpose of clothing bodies of men in succession with qualities and capacities that corporations were invented and are in use. By these means, a perpetual succession of individuals are capable of acting for the promotion of the particular object like one immortal being. See, a lot of y'all didn't know U.S.A.R makes you immortal. U.S.A.R makes you immortal. You are a god again. That should not be there. Let me see. Yeah, that should be there. Let me go down some more. I got another right here. This right here. Let me highlight this. I got to move this down. Just got to go there. Let me highlight all that. Let me highlight all that. Okay. Contracts. So we just went over corporations. Now, before I get into contracts, anybody got any questions about U.S.A.R being a corporation, a corporate entity, and the purpose that it serves and why we're a corporate entity? If all of that, what I just read, don't make this crystal clear to you, that did you hear what it said? We don't have to keep conveying this property from me to my son to his son. Then when he die, I die. They got to go down here and record it again and re-record it again and keep re-recording it every time my property pass hands. No. It's able to pass through succession. When I leave this seat as president, it'll be another president. And guess what? All the property that U.S.A.R owns gonna still be property that U.S.A.R and the people of the United States of America Republic own. It is not going anywhere. When a governor of U.S.A.R leave his seat, guess what? Somebody else fulfills it. That's a corporate soul. A corporate soul is nothing more than an office or an agent of a government entity. Your office is made where it runs in succession. And your corporate soul is your title. Like governor, attorney general, secretary of state, whatever you want to call, those are all corporate souls. And when they leave their seat, guess what? They don't take no property with them other than their private property. All the property remains property of the state. And the next person steps in and fills their seat and takes over their job as a trustee for the United States of America Republic, working on behalf of the Moorish American people. This is real simple math, y'all. Real simple math. And I know a lot of people is having problems with what's going on in U.S.A.R. So I only want to try to straighten out some of these things. Okay. How many people over here understand that U.S.A.R is a government entity? How many people know the effect of that? I sent some emails out earlier in the week to everybody in the government on trust, on government entity, this and that. I don't know how many people actually read the emails I sent out, but if they did, I don't know if they actually understood them. My guess is a lot of people really didn't understand them. This is why I try to warn people that, guess what? Just because you're going reading stuff don't mean you got understanding of what you're reading. It does not mean you have understanding of what you're reading. And I try to convey this to everybody over and over again. And you'll hear me from time to time say, guess what? All the apostles that was with Jesus had knowledge. They all went out in different directions and taught the gospel that Jesus brought. They taught what Jesus was teaching. They went everywhere teaching. But every now and then they would come back and they would ask him, well, what this mean or what that mean? Jesus not only had knowledge, but he also had understanding. And that's what made Jesus the dangerous one. Because these people don't care that you know about the straw man. They don't care that you know about promissory notes. They don't care that you know about contracts or anything else that you claim to know. They don't care that you're reading 500 books a day. They don't care about none of that mess. Guess what? If you don't have no understanding of the information you taking in, you ain't no threat. You are not a threat. The threat is the one that overstands to put it together so that you can walk up out of bondage and be free. That's the one that's the threat. Because that's the one that got the overstanding. They got a saying, kill a head and the body crumbles. I'm trying to set something up in place. Guess what? They kill this head, this body gonna keep right on rolling. Did you hear the definitions to a corporation? It's immortal. It's immortal. You get another president tomorrow. That one leaves, you get another president after that. Guess what? Any property that goes in the vast loss estate express trust is irrevocable. Henceforth, while my prophet Noble Ali said, all the property, all the land is coming back to the government anyway. You ain't even got to give me your finances, he said. You ain't got to pay your dues. It don't matter. Because guess what? All this land is coming back to the government anyway. So, this section discusses the law of contracts. Now I want to get into contracts. Because we got people in the government that got issues with contracts. Let's get some understanding about contracts really quick. This section discusses the law of contracts generally, including the definitions of various kinds of contracts and the distinctions between them, the principles governing and requisites for the formation of contracts such as assent, offer, acceptance, consideration, definiteness, and formalities, the effect of mistake, fraud, duress, and undue influence, illegality arising from violation of Constitution, statute, or public policy, the construction, effect, and enforceability of contracts, including such issues as entirety or divisibility, persons bound and entitled, conditions, time or place, and compensation, the modification, renewal, rescission, termination, or discharge of contracts, the performance or breach of contracts, including anticipatory breach, sufficiency, and approval of performance, waiver of strict or full performance, excuses for non-performance, and breach as a cause of action, a practice and procedure in contract actions generally. A contract has been defined as an agreement upon a sufficient consideration. To do or refrain from doing a particular lawful thing. Similarly, a contract has been defined as an agreement, obligation, or legal tie by which a party binds itself or becomes bound, expressly or impliedly, to pay a sum of money or to perform or omit to do some certain act or thing. Also, a contract has been defined as a private, voluntary allocation by which two or more parties distribute specific entitlements and obligations. The term contract has been held to include every description or agreement or obligation, whether verbal or written, by which one party becomes bound to another to pay a sum of money, or to perform or omit to do a certain act. The restatement defines the term contract as a promise or a set of promises for the breach of which the law gives a remedy, or the performance of which the law in some way recognizes as a duty, and this definition has been adopted by some courts. However, this has been criticized as a circular definition. It is the same as saying that a contract is a legally enforceable promise. But a promise is legally enforceable only if it is a contract. Only if it's a contract. A contract is not a law, nor does it make law. It is the agreement plus the law that makes the ordinary contract an enforceable obligation. I'm going to read that to y'all again. A contract is not a law, nor does it make law. It is the agreement plus the law that makes the ordinary contract an enforceable obligation. Caution. The following types of contracts are subject in some respects to special rules that depend on their formal characteristics and differ from those governing contracts in general. Contracts under seal. Recognizes. I think I'm saying it right. Negotiable instruments and documents. Wow, look at that one. Negotiable instruments and documents. Would that be like the promissory note that I sent out and all those documents I sent out with that promissory note? Do people think that? Would you think that would apply to that I sent out, that we went over, about all these documents that the president sent out that a lot of people don't agree with, that a lot of people are talking mess about, that a lot of people saying I'm not doing it? Oh, okay. That might apply. That might apply. Let's see. When used in its ordinary sense, the term contract implies enforceable obligations. However, in popular speech, the word contract is frequently used as a meaning the work done under a contract. Observation. A contract is a verbal act that has a legal reality independent of the truth of any statement contained in it. The right to perform a contract and to receive its profits, and the right to performance by the other party are property rights entitling each party to the fulfillment of the contract by performance. Article 1, Section 10 of the United States of America Republic, the legislative branch, powers prohibited of the states. No state shall pass any ex post facto law or law impairing the obligation of contracts. What do you know? That means when we as a people bind ourselves to each other with these contracts, when we're entering these contracts with our state, when we're entering these contracts with our God, the state cannot impair the obligation of those contracts. So, the Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali said this. He said you got to go right back through the same fire that put you in a predicament that you're in. You're binded and bound in many contracts. And to get you out of all these contracts that you've been bound in and binded yourself in, because guess what? Canon Bay didn't put you in them. You've been signing things your whole life, not knowing that all the things you done signed your entire life was a contract. From you filling out a job application, from you joining the YMCA, from you going to register your children in school, you're steadily entering contracts. When you fill out for credit, when you go to the store and they say, oh, you want one of our cards, you know, you get extra points every time you buy something. Yeah, that's a contract. Every time you go to the store and you say, well, I want a warranty. You want a warranty on this TV, sir? Yeah, that's another contract. All your life, you've been signing contracts. The only problem and issue is, guess what? You didn't know you was a contractor. See, I used to be a general contractor at one time. I used to be a general contractor, and I dealt with contracts a lot because I worked on people's homes, remodeling their homes and buildings and properties. So I had a contract that says I'm charging you $30,000 to do this kitchen. a certain way. It's written in the contract. As I'm doing your kitchen, you being a homeowner comes to me and say, well, you know, I think I want some more cabinets over on that wall. And you know what? I want you to run some more ceramic on the wall over there. And you know, I know I wanted can lights in here. You put can lights in, but I think I want you to put a ceiling fan up in here too. Guess what I say to that homeowner? It's called a change order, which is in my contract. If you want anything else done outside of this contract, I will do a change order in which I must charge you some more money. Contracts, y'all. Contracts. I try to teach everybody in U.S.A.R the greatest power you have is the power to contract. The power to contract. And I'm trying my best to teach y'all the power of contracting. I'm trying my best to teach y'all the power of corporations. I'm trying my best to teach y'all government. I'm trying my best, y'all. People have got to stop reading things and thinking that they understand what I'm doing. Because you ain't going to get no understanding of what I'm doing from reading one or two things on one or two issues of something that I may be doing right now. But it's a whole lot behind when I push some paperwork out. It's a lot more behind you just signing some paperwork and me pushing it out there for you to sign it. It's a purpose. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Those to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles as organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. It's the Declaration of Independence. It's a contract. It's part of a contract. How are you going to it's their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. How are you going to provide new guards for the future security of your children if you don't form this government, do the same thing that Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin and all the rest of them did? They did a contract. They did a contract. And in the words of Martin Luther King, no Emancipation Proclamation is going to set you free. In order for the Negro in America to be free, he must pick up the pen and write his own Emancipation Proclamation. Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam. Islam.
You got the floor?
This is Kikuyan in Colorado. Both me and Sister Ajoa went through Arcadia doing contracts with them, and what you're doing is so much more simpler. than we did. So, yeah, I thank you for making it simple. And what you're doing is a lot more to the point. When they do contracts, it is so detailed and complicated. We were reading for days and days and days through their material. So this, is not difficult at all. It's a lot easier to understand what you're, going about and what you're accomplishing. But yeah, after doing all the work with Arcadia, yeah, I'm glad to be able to do this and get through it in a lot simpler way. So with that, I yield the floor.
Anybody else got any questions? This is time to bring your questions forward. No emails after this call about this subject, because guess what? If you can't talk to me, I'm your president. If you can't talk to me, you scared to talk to me, you scared to have a conversation with me, guess what? You need to resign your seat. You know why? Because if you're scared to talk to your own president, then I have no faith in you going to talk to some Europeans on our behalf as a nation for the protection and property rights and political rights and everything else for our people. I want to say that again. If you can't talk to your own president, why should I have faith in you going to talk to other government officials of another nation about our rights, our property, our privileges, and our political rights? So let's start talking up around here. Everybody is adults. Adults. I understand that I can be very direct and very firm. I understand that. But guess what? When I go to the zoo to see a lion and he roar, I don't go over to his cage and say, hey, you're roaring kind of loud. Could you like meow? I grew up on the west side of Chicago in the streets. I was in a gang. I used to be a gang chief at one time. People used to get hit in their mouth when they was talking while I was talking. This is not one of those type of organizations. Nobody's going to hit anybody in the mouth for talking when the president is talking. I'm no longer a gang chief. I am the president of the United States of America Republic. You have nothing to fear. There will be no eye shots. There will be no full body, no cover up. It will be no head to toe violations. None of that. So nobody in this government should ever be talking about that they're scared to have a conversation with me, because if you have a conversation with me one-on-one, you will see that I am very pleasant to talk to.
How you doing, sir? I have a question, sir.
Yes.
And so, by me, I just took my oath. My name is Williams Bay. So like, by me, like, say, when I register my car over to U.S.A.R. and say, like, eventually when I get a house and I get and they go and I put that on the registered on that under U.S.A.R. as well. Now say my wife is not Moorish American, and something happened to me. That house will go up under, still up under. It won't go to her, right? It will go to U.S.A.R.
No, it'll go to your wife.
Oh, okay.
It goes to your wife. Do you know the law? Wife gets everything, brother. Wife gets everything. See, people, see, this is what I'm trying to do for y'all. We have people that think on such a low level, and it's no fault of y'all. Don't get me wrong. You've been a slave for a very long time, so it's hard to free you from this plantation. See, I'm going to give you an example. We got an issue going on right now with a property. This property is up under the Moorish-Science Temple of America International Mission. If we would step back for a minute and listen to our president and pay close attention to what he's teaching, we will learn that the Moorish-Science Temple of America International Mission is a governmental agency. The email I sent out earlier this week about trust and governmental entities that I sent out for people to read, if they read it, then people would know this. No county can take property away from a governmental entity. Guess what? No governmental entity can take property from another governmental entity. It's impossible. You can't do it. You don't have power nor jurisdiction to. See,
Yes,
you
sir.
got to really learn the law and start using the power that we have. Now, this is from this is a thing called Illinois Tax Deeds, Attorney's Title Guarantee Fund, Inc. And it says, a tax deed may be attacked at any time on the grounds that it is absolutely void for want of jurisdiction to enter the original judgment and order of sale. Jurisdictional defects have been limited by the statutes and courts to the following: that the property was under the exclusive jurisdiction of a bankruptcy court, that the court lacked jurisdiction to divest a governmental entity of its interest in the property. Let me read that again. Let me read that one more time. Okay, here we go. A tax deed may be attacked at any time on the grounds that it is absolutely void for want of jurisdiction to enter the original judgment and order of sale. Jurisdictional defects have been limited by the statutes and courts to the following: that the property was under the exclusive jurisdiction of a bankruptcy court, that the court lacked jurisdiction to divest a governmental entity of its interest in the property. Do y'all understand what that's saying? Do you understand that when you're a citizen under this state government, you are property of this state government? Do you understand that your vehicle, your license plates, your driver's license, your children, and anything else that you put up under U.S.A.R becomes governmental property? Therefore, no other governmental entity can take other property of another governmental entity. They don't have jurisdiction to do so. But guess what? They got jurisdiction to do it as long as you don't exercise your power knowing that they can't do that. If you make your argument about the state versus yourselves, you have power. If you keep fighting these people as individuals, you have no power. You have a government entity. A government entity. They have no laws that one government can enforce on another government, because guess what that leads to? War. It leads to war. This is a civil society. We do everything civilly. We're not going to go to war. We're going to come in a courtroom. We're going to let you know that we're a government entity and you do not have jurisdiction. These judges' hands have been tied. They've been hog-tied. They've been chained up. And if y'all don't get an understanding of what you got, they're going to keep running you over. We don't go in court arguing about, oh yeah, we got a right, I got a right to travel. We're saying, oh, hold up, wait a minute. You denying my right to travel. I got a driver's license issued by my state government that gave me authority to travel, to drive. So the issue ain't with me, sir. The issue is with the state that issued me the driver's license telling me that I could drive with it. So if you have any issues, you should not be taking those issues up with me. You need to take those issues up with my state government. What makes his state government driver's license more special than your state government driver's license? Because he up there huffing and puffing and you scared. And you scared and you don't know what you have. You have a state government too. Yeah. Surprise. For those that didn't know, you got a state government. Surprise. The states are sovereign.
Wow.
The states are sovereign. For those that don't get it. The people are the state. The state is the people. The people in the state, one and the same. One and the same. A corporation can't run itself. It got to have some people, natural people, that's running it. The natural people fall back behind the corporate body that they created, because the corporate body is immortal and it can pass property in succession. Black people and African American people in America don't have that power because they don't have no franchise. They're a bunch of self-proprietors. In this case, sole proprietors. So,
point of interest.
yes, sir.
Like in your YouTube video, if you are carrying the documents with you saying that the Secretary of State has given U.S.A.R, permission to issue its own driver's license and so forth, when the officer of the law sees that his own Secretary of State has granted permission of U.S.A.R to issue driver's licenses and so forth, like in the video, all they can do is give you back your license and say, have a nice day, and leave.
Not necessarily. Sometimes you're going to run into an idiot, like Dexter did. He ran into an idiot, and guess what he did? The idiot towed his truck with the U.S.A.R plates on it. But guess what? Dexter also had on the location, because they was in two cars, they was in the truck and they was in the Charger that we got for our marshals. And the Charger has on its plate GOV on the sides of the plate and says U.S.A.R with GOV on the sides. So the police told him, if you get in that car, I'm going to tow it too. And Dexter told me on the phone, he say, friends, they say if I get in that car, they going to tow it too. I say, get in that motherfucker and let them tow it. We have to have confrontation, period. If it ain't worth fighting for, it ain't worth having. Let them tow it. You understand? After I told him that, you know what I heard him telling the police? Oh, I'm going to get in that car and I'm going to drive that car. You know why? Because I got a lawfully issued driver's license issued by my state government, is what he told the police officer. And he kindly walked over, got in that car, and drove it right in front of them. And guess what they did? Not a damn thing. Because he let them know, I am the governor for the province of Indiana, and you talking about I need a valid driver's license, and I'm going to tell you this one more time. I got a valid driver's license issued by my state government. And I'm going to get in that car, and I'm going to drive it. And he got right in that car, and he drove it. And guess what? He's been driving it every day ever since. And guess what? They've been seeing him in it. But this is the deal. You know what the police officer told him? He said, yeah, y'all got a state government, but it's still a few things y'all haven't done. He said, it's still a few things y'all haven't done. And guess what? I know what them few things is. But guess what? People are slowing down how fast can they move, because people need to figure these things out on their own versus, let me tell y'all how things are supposed to go. Listen to me closely. The President of the United States has a cabinet. Everybody on his cabinet is a secretary. Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State, Secretary of Transportation, okay, Secretary of Interior. Okay, these people gather up facts and information, and they come to the president, and they present the facts and information to the president, and the president makes a decision. Guess what they do when he makes the decision? They go execute. We got issues in this government. When I make a decision, people want to second guess my decisions that I make. They don't want to move until they overstand. These is issues that's really slowing us down, whether people know or not. This is slowing us down, and we got nationals out here that need to be protected. And I am very good at crossing T's and dotting I's. Ask Brother Brown Baby down in Virginia. He went to court today. The judge told him sir, I didn't know last time what you was a part of, and I understand your what you're doing, and I understand if you don't want to use an attorney and on your appeal, and if you are unable to file your appeal in time, just come let me know and I extend the time for you. Why do you think that judge talking like that to him? Because he done had time to read our charter. He done had time to do a little investigation of his own. And guess what they find out? These Moors ain't nothing like y'all been acting like they are. That they are going around saying that don't no law apply to them. Because these people got a constitution. And I'm reading it. And it lines up with law. Not only do their constitution line up with law, but I've been on their website and they got laws. They have laws. These people are trying to line up with the law. They're trying to be free. They're trying to be independent. Like the judge told Andre Akinzito. He say, sir, you trying to walk on both. You trying to be independent, but you straggling the fence. You walking on both sides. You got a conceal and carry card. You got a federal firearms card. You walking around with a Social Security card in your pocket. He's trying to tell them, man, you walking around with contracts in your pocket, but then talking about you a national of the United States of American Republic. You can't straddle the fence like that, player. This is what the judge trying to tell them. And the same thing in our government right now. We got people that steal because they don't have no faith in their government. They don't have no faith in their president. They don't trust the president. They don't trust what we're doing. They have no belief or faith in what we're doing, what's going on. They are with us, but they're not really with us. Y'all got to shake this. I'm only trying to tell y'all, if you ain't got a Circle 7 Holy Quran of the Moorish Science of America, you need to get one and you need to start reading it. You need to get one and you need to start reading it. Because this is something that I've always known. And this comes from my power of observation and from being in a street gang and being around snakes. Usually, when people say certain things about how they feel or whatever, you have to really listen to what they're saying. Because they're really telling on themselves. They really telling on themselves. Trust me. So when your wife come home and she accusing you of cheating and, doing this and doing that, your wife fucking around. She's cheating on you. When something come up stolen out your house, the person that's the most interested in trying to find it and doing the most looking, that's the person that stole it. Trust me. That's the person that stole it. And it's the same thing. When people are talking to you, pay close attention. Pay extremely close attention to what they're saying. Because that is something dealing with self that they need to conquer. Their own insecurities, their own imperfections, their own inabilities is coming out. But guess what they do when they come out? They point the finger at somebody else. We each must do like our prophet taught us. Learn thyself. Know your limits. Know your capabilities and get in your lane. Get in your lane. I don't think I think people need, and I say this all the time, people need to read the Moses story in the Bible. People really need to read that. Why God made the people walk 40 years in the desert. Because some of them people need to die off because they didn't have real faith and belief in what was going on. They didn't think that there was really no promised land. They was cussing at Moses, cussing them out and everything. They weren't true. They weren't true at heart. So, the people always gonna complain. This is something that I know. I think y'all done heard me say this before. The same ones that love you, the same ones that hate you. Being a president is an occupational hazard. Everybody ain't gonna like you. Everybody ain't gonna like everything you do. It's an occupational hazard. Period. See, nobody really know until they the one that's in charge and they got the shoes on. with all the weight on their shoulders, and they the one that got to carry and perpetuate the entire nation in the direction that we're moving. Until you get this weight of U.S.A.R, all, and I mean all of this weight on your shoulder, not just a little piece of it, but all of the weight on your shoulder, you really don't know what it means. They got a saying, it ain't easy being cheesy. Guess what? I used to say it all the time, because it ain't easy being the chief. It ain't easy being the leader. It ain't easy being the head. It ain't easy being the one everybody coming to you for the answer. It ain't easy taking on the responsibility for millions of people, knowing that if you make a mistake in where you're guiding them, somebody could lose their life, somebody could go to jail, anything can happen. When you start really dealing with the realness of what we're doing and the fact that we're doing this for our children, people got to wake up. These contracts, if you read them, you will see clearly the promissory note is for services that the state provides of citizenship to not only cover you, but your future generations, your prosperity. We are making this pledge. We are. Why are we making this pledge, Cannon Bay? To fund our nation. Because you hear people say it all the time, oh, we the real creditors. If you the real creditor, why you ain't gave yourself no money? Smarty pants. You're a creditor, but you walking around here broke. Why are you walking around here broke? Because you're lacking knowledge to understand that at any time you can enter a contract, do a promissory note, and guess what? You can benefit from it. But you can't benefit from it on the level that you're thinking. On the level that you're thinking, you trying to get some greenbacks. You want some dead presidents in your pocket. No, that ain't how it works. You better go buy Jay-Z album. He's trying to tell you who needs money when you got unlimited credit. Unlimited credit. Guess what? All that we create in the debts that a state creates, guess whose job it is to discharge the debt that this state creates? It's the United States government's job to discharge the debts of the United States. Let me say it again. Go look it up. Whose job is it to discharge the debts of the United States? Oh, it's the United States federal government's job to discharge the debts of the United States. So, do that mean they're going to discharge my debt? You know, I got a mortgage and I got this car note. Are they going to discharge my debt? Hell no, they're not going to discharge your debt. That's your problem. But they will discharge the debts of the states because that's who their contract is with. That's who their contract is with. So all the debt that the citizens of that state create and that state brings their debts to us, we will discharge their debts because it's our duty and we are obligated to. But it's not our duty and obligation to discharge the debts of the American people as individual citizens. No, it is not our job to do that. And if you don't believe me, call the United States Treasury, and I guarantee you they'll be more than glad to verify everything I just said and tell you that, oh, who told you that? Oh, yeah, he's exactly right. I want people to do some soul searching. I want people to really look around them. I want people to think of where they came from before they found out about U.S.A.R. I want people to think about the condition they was in before they came to U.S.A.R. I want people to think about all the other organizations and all the other things they joined before U.S.A.R. I want people to think about all those people that they dealt with that told them, man, you should just go sell some weed, whatever the case may be. I want y'all all to think about where you came from before you found U.S.A.R. and the condition you was in then. And maybe then we'll be thankful for what we have. Maybe then we'll find thanks. And thank God for opening our eyes to learn and understand law. To the point to where we can free ourselves. Islam, any questions? I yield slow.
Islam.
You got the floor if you want it.
Yeah, I was thinking the United States, when they decide, I guess, your citizenship or nationality, do they wait until you're 18 years old?
What do you mean when they decide your nationality or citizenship?
Well, the young woman I was talking to you about, did you find her application?
You know what? I did not go to the P.O. box today because I went to work today. I am working again to put some money in this government, to perpetuate this government forward like I know to do. There's certain things that, you know, I just will do. And so I'm working again, so I didn't have time to go to the P.O. box. I would guarantee y'all that by the time the summer comes, you will have a Marshall car with U.S.A.R, decals, lights, everything like it's supposed to, because I'm working and I'm going to make sure that that gets done. You may have 2 or 3 cars, depending on how much money I can get out here and make. But as I make money, I will buy cars. I will buy a few police cars. I will get decals put on them. I will get lights put in them. I will get sirens put on them. I would get money. I would buy a property to open up our courthouse in. I will make moves. I will make moves to perpetuate this government by any means necessary. By any means necessary. I will work 3 jobs and give every check to U.S.A.R. I don't have nothing else to live for. I know some of y'all do, but guess what? I don't. The only thing I live for is this government and my children.
Okay.
I have no personal ambitions anymore other than the freedom and political rights of my people. That's how I was able to sit in the house for 2 years doing what I'm doing, because I have no material wants other than I need some police cars. I need a courthouse. I need a government building. You know, some people in the government is talking about the new car they want or what they want to get. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about we need some fire trucks.
My thinking on this was her parents are from Gambia, and she was born in New York. She had just turned 18 in 2015 when this, I guess...
she was a United States citizen, Kukuya. Your age, if you're born or naturalized here, she was born here?
She was born here, but her parents are Gambian. They're from Gambia.
Are they United States citizens?
No.
Oh, then she ain't no United States citizen. They don't have no citizenship?
I don't think so.
Wait. Did you say she was born here, though?
Yeah.
What her parents do?
I think they work something with New York. I think it's city government. I'm not positive with that.
Oh, they're not no type of diplomats or nothing like that, right?
No. But
they reside here permanently or temporarily?
Well, they're trying. They're in the process. They applied for green cards. They're trying to get.
Okay, she's a United States citizen.
Okay.
Automatic. If they was just like passing through temporarily and she was born here, they go back and forth from their country to here, and she was born here on one of their trips here or something like that, then she might not be a United States citizen. But if they are residing here, like trying to reside here permanently, and she was born here, she is a United States citizen.
Okay. That was my question. That was my thinking, that if she was born of Gambian parents and she hadn't had the United States declare her as a citizen of their government, then, you know, it's her right to decide what citizen she is, and if she takes her oath with U.S.A.R, then that's her decision, and they need to just accept that.
I mean, she can, she can choose any citizenship status she wants. Citizenship status, she can go be a citizen in Nevada if she wants, rather a resident, not a citizen, but a resident. So that's the whole key, what you got to understand. I try to make sure y'all know the difference in citizenship, residency, and being a national. All three are different things, of course.
Yeah.
But she's a United States citizen. I can tell you that now. So yeah, she could choose to become a citizen under U.S.A.R. Anybody could be a Chinese if he want to join U.S.A.R and be a citizen under U.S.A.R. He can.
Okay.
Anybody can.
So, but in court, she can't claim to be a Gambian.
She want to claim to be a Gambian?
Yeah, because her parents.
She got dual nationality at birth. She can never stop. She cannot cut off her bloodline being Gambian.
Yeah.
A United States citizen has a nationality before American.
Yeah.
So she's a Gambian American. But her citizenship status is she's a citizen of the United States. Now, she may say, hey, well, you know, I don't want to be a United States citizen. I just turned 18. I want to go home to Gambia. Then she must leave the country and go home to Gambia. She can do that. She can do that. She can say, well, I was a minor then, I'm an adult now, and I'm choosing to have my Gambian citizenship status renewed in my own homeland. And I'm going back to the homeland of my ancestors and my foremothers, and I'm going to live in Gambia. She can do that. See, the issue with us is we can't do that because we already home. We can't leave and go nowhere. We already here.
Yeah.
Which is the same thing that many other people here can do. Chinese, Japanese, Puerto Rican, Mexican, whatever they is, Polish, Irish, whatever. At any time they want, they can just pack their stuff up and go on home to their homeland. We can't do nothing but go over mama's house.
Yeah. All right.
Any more questions? Anybody got any questions? Now, y'all mean to tell me, out of all that stuff that I read, ain't nobody got a question?
Islam. Yes, this is Nanana. And the question that I have, President Cannon Bay, is concerning the documents that were emailed that we were to meet a December 1st date on. What is the status of those documents right now? For some reason, I was thinking that they were being rewritten or revised or something. What is the status of those documents, and when should we expect that if they're going to be back out to us again, what's the time frame looking like?
You know, you would have to ask Sister Colonna that. Last time I checked, Brother Bryce supposed to have been going over the documents, and I was waiting on Brother Bryce to go over the documents and give an okay or a nay or whatever the reason is that he's going over these documents. And that's where it's at the last that I've heard, and I really, you know, I really can't answer that. I'm just gonna say it like that. I really can't answer it. I know some of the documents only needed minor things. Somebody called me today. They was at the notary trying to get their promissory note notarized in front of the notary, had their two witnesses. and everything, and I told them to stop because I did redo the promissory note, and we may end up printing up all the promissory notes and sending those out ourselves to each person in the government, so that all of them are on the same type of paper, because they are issued by our government, so there should be some uniformity to them. But the rest of the documents should. I don't see what's taking up so long. I can't answer. It's out of my hands. You know, if it was in my hands, you'd have had them, you know, maybe in a couple of days afterwards. But I think some people have concerns about the documents, and so they want to have other people scrutinize the documents and look at the documents and, you know, go through the documents with a fine-tooth comb to see what their impression is of the documents, et cetera, or whatever's going on with it. That's why I did this presentation on contracts and on corporations, because I just really want people to understand that, you know, we hurt, you know, our people hurt themselves a lot of times. We hurt our own self. We really do. We really do. We stunt our own growth. We stunt our own growth a lot of times. And, you know, I feel like, you know, hey, you know, everybody ain't gonna be on the same page all the time. That's, you know, that's impossible. And if anybody ever think that, then they crazy. But
Islam, President.
Islam,
President. I've been listening to you, and I've had private conversations with you on certain topics and issues. And I don't consider what you're doing an issue at all, period. Now, I've been listening to you very patiently, and I listen to where you explain yourself, and that's a beautiful thing. And I think your leadership is one that is exquisite for a lot of people to listen to. But here's the deal. It's not what you're doing or how you're doing it, but it's when this is my only thing, it's when one asks a question. And if they don't have an overstanding or understanding, it's not to hold up anything. And I'm only speaking from my perspective, because when I listen to my little brother talk, you know, and you say we don't overstand a lot of things, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of us, and I've told you this before, and I'm going to tell you on here, open call in front of everybody, that you are the one that are sitting in the hot seat. And I told Brother Moon that I would never want to be in your seat, nor do I envy you, because you're getting a divine ass with it. And rightfully so, because the way I put it, I explained what I was talking about when I was saying about that divine ass with it. Because just like when you quote Moses, and you said, you know, when you talk about Moses, and we watch movies about Moses, Moses was getting one too, because he didn't know which way to go when God was laying it down on him neither. That's why he stayed close by, so he could get his directions just like you. Because I hear you when you talk about God and how God talks to you and how he keeps you on track of what you're doing. And you are absolutely damn right that everybody ain't going to be able to stay up with the divine ass whipping that you're getting from Most High. That's not just bad. It's good, too, because he's keeping you focused and he's keeping you on track. But if you're going 1,000,000 miles an hour and I can only manage 1,000 because I don't understand, please don't get teed at a brother because I don't understand that or understand that. It's because we're not supposed to be there. You are. You were chosen. And I'm not mad at you at all, because I wouldn't want that type of spanking. And you sometimes when in life, when you're looking at God, the way God lays down things to people, he only lays it down to that individual. And other people can't understand what's going on. They cannot. So my fez is tilted to you. All I would ask in the future, I've said this before, and I've said it on open calls, is that when we go to do things, as you're coming from the gang that you explained about, that's one family. As you explained when you talk about prison, that's another family. But the family that you're in right now is the U.S.A.R family. And in that family, we have to learn to be more diplomatic. And being diplomatic also means that the bottom line is when you are interacting with your people, it is a zone where the people have to feel comfortable. Yeah, we are leaders. I was a leader in the military for 20 years, life or death. So I get what you're talking about. I know the hot seat. I know that damn hot seat. I had to pick up dead people, blow up mines, and get back home with 80 people intact, all limbs. So I know exactly what you mean. And so when I'm leading over here and I'm talking about my people, I go with passion. I'm coming from the spirit of spirits, period. Because I'm sick and tired of seeing our people sick, hurting, and I'm out here busting ass every day. Even with my ailments and everything going down, I'm still here every day for my brother and sister. So when you say that, I don't know if you're talking to Sakuba, because I don't know that. But I will say this, I'm not in your seat. And the people on this phone, if you don't speak your mind, that's on y'all. I get it. I'm not going away from the government because of the way you're teaching, the way you're acting. The only thing I'm saying is I want to be able to talk to my brothers where it's not always a debate. Because like you said, we are not just talking about we being Moors, but we also brothers and sisters. If I can't talk to my brothers and sisters, something's wrong without a government. This is before we even knew U.S.A.R and all these other things. We are still brothers and sisters whenever we get done. At the end of the day, we are still brothers and sisters. Our ancient blood has been shed throughout this whole diaspora. So no matter what we do, we're still brothers and sisters. I just would ask for the humbleness and just being brothers and sisters so we can get things done. I go to brothers and sisters and talk to them every day in this government, trying to move us forward as a whole, one unit. I'm not getting away from you at all. You can't get away from me, Kenny Bay. You can't give me enough. Bottom line, period, like you always say. I like that one. But sometimes I'm there. Whew. I apologize, family. I just want to do right by our people.
Wow.
We just want to, all we want, brother, no, I'm just speaking for me. I can only say that. All I'm saying is what you're putting forward, bro, is the right thing. We just want, if a person asks a question, that's me. Like I said, I can't speak for the family. Family want to be quiet on the phone, that's the family. But for me personally, if I just ask a question, you know, most people on here don't want to be yelled at. Well, I'm a grown man. I'll be 55 next month. I didn't get it where I'm at being stupid on this earth, getting to the 55-year mark. Now, some people may be more ignorant. Ignorant means to ignore the truth. Like you said, we have to go back to Quran. We have to go to that Bible and we study like the prophet teaches us. Yeah, some of us just came into this like 4 or 5 years, maybe less. Some of us don't even know it. So you're talking to ignorant people, not because they want to ignore things. It's because they don't know. And the magnitude, the speed at which you're putting it out, the precision of that divine scepter that you're putting it out in speed, some people ain't going to be able to understand. First of all, a lot of people didn't even understand the Bible nor the Quran at first at all. They'll read it every day, just like you say. People will read and don't understand it. I'm one of those people, I have to read things 4 and 5 times to get it sometimes. And it don't work for me reading it one time. Some people hear it, and that's it. They got it. They got that blueprint mind. I'm not that one. So it may take me a minute to get it. When I do get it, I got it. But, you know, like I said, I don't know about everybody else on the phone. I'm not coming off on you. I told you I'm going to protect you no matter what. But you are sometimes, whoo. Yeah, we had these side talks. All right, peace and love, man.
Islam. You know, I think most people, usually when somebody asks me a question, I say, I got to answer. I don't just holler at people because they ask me a question. I don't do that. It's not a person asking me a question if my tone raises. It depends on what we're talking about, what the subject is, and if a person is asking me a question and then I'm answering the question, but then they want me to answer the question the way that they want me to answer it. Or they cutting me off from saying what I'm trying to say, or they're arguing with me about the answer I'm giving. My tone may rise. Because it's like, how do you ask somebody a question about something, and then they're telling you the answer, and then you don't accept the answer? You want to argue that that's not right. If you knew it, then why you ask me?
Mm-hmm.
Why you ask me? If you already know, why you ask me? So, we have to, and I said this before, everybody has to start relearning how to learn again. Because a lot of us been out of school a very long time. And learning certain things is like it's like a certain skill you got to reacquire how to learn. And I acquired that skill of how to learn. I can't, right now to this day, I can't remember the words to a song. It might be one song I can remember the words to all the way through. And that's Mind-Blowing Decisions, whatever the name of it is. Anyway, but the thing of it is I can remember law like it ain't nothing. I can remember case law. I done lost a lot of what I memorized and what I'm talking about spit like hot gunfire. Like if somebody asked me what my mother's name is, I could spit certain things just off the top of my head. I was that sharp. But by me not using it, I began to lose it. Because it was, at one time, I could spit at least 40 case laws off the top of my head with the numbers and everything. And that's one of the reasons why the prosecutor, well, the FBI, and I know they was coming on behalf of the prosecutor, was coming to me, asking me had I been out the country, and asking me what's the best way I learn and all of that. Because the prosecutor really couldn't do nothing with me spitting them case laws like that. With me objecting and spitting them case laws and saying, this and that. You know what I'm saying? So these lawyers in these courts are not very skillful in law. You got to remember, they got a paralegal putting all their paperwork together. All they doing is coming in, reading off the paper. They brush up on it the night before or whatever, and they come in and they da-da-da-da-da-da-da from what the paralegal put together. They really don't, know nothing. Because they're in a automation right now. They're running an automation. They done stopped thinking. This is why Nova Jew Ali said, if I start you back to thinking, you will save yourself. And from day one, when I teach, I've been teaching people how to think again. Mm-hmm. And so when I teach, I ask you questions and try to get you to find the answer. But I know how to ask you the questions to lead you in the direction of the answer. And I do that because that makes you critically think. And by me making you critically think, guess what that does? If you get in a situation with these Europeans in government and they ask you something, you will be able to critically think and answer them appropriately. Because you've been being put to the test constantly on what? Critical thinking. Of somebody asking you questions. So it may be good that some people may be a little intimidated by me when I talk to them. That's great. That means when you go in front of a judge, a governor, or a senator, whoever you're talking to, maybe because you was a little intimidated by me, now you done shook that fear. And now you done shook that off and you're able to talk to somebody without that fear or without that feel of intimidation or whatever. Because I done made you a lion now. You no longer a sheep but a lion. So you roar. Islam? The resurrection is the resurrection of the mind. The resurrection of your mind. And so I don't just give answers all the time straight out. I may question you to get you to think. And if I do that, it's because I already done taught you this. You just not really thinking about that. You really done already learned the answer to this. So I just got to kind of help you in the direction, and you will answer it yourself. Okay. Nobody got any more questions about contracts? I hope y'all got a lot of understanding out of that on contracts. And I hope y'all got a lot of understanding on corporations to understand that that's what bind us together. That's what bind and made 160 million Moorish Americans nationwide, even though they don't mess with U.S.A.R. They are now one person. They are all unified. We unified nationwide, whether they know it or not. When you speak of the Moorish American people, you talking about the United States of America Republic. And it's just the bottom line. Ain't no escaping it. And these people are going to gain respect for the United States of America Republic, just like they gain respect for the United States and any other state in this country. They're going to gain respect for you. But it takes administration. You have to learn how to administrate. You have to learn that they don't have no more power than you have. In fact, your power is greater. Your corporation is a de jure corporation. Their corporation is quasi-government corporation. And anytime it comes down to a court of law, we gonna win. And we gonna win, why? Because our paperwork is the strongest. We just gotta know how to move. And I know how to move. That's why I went back to work. Because guess what? U.S.A.R. is not only one day gonna have, when they say this case versus U.S.A.R. Guess what? It's going to be 25 attorneys that walk up in there. You're going to have 25, 30. Matter of fact, you're going to have a whole law firm of attorneys. You're going to have a whole law firm of accountants. Because U.S.A.R. is going to be a multi-billion-dollar corporation. But guess who's going to be the owners of it? Our children. Our children.